The year is 70 AD, a time of great turmoil and transformation. The sun beats down on Jerusalem, a city shimmering gold in the heat, its ancient walls standing as silent witnesses to the unfolding drama. But this is no time of peace. The air is charged with anticipation, as if the very stones of the city can sense the impending conflict. Roman legions, their standards held high, surround the city walls. These soldiers, disciplined and relentless, are the embodiment of Rome's military might. The air is thick with tension, the silence broken only by the distant clang of a blacksmith's hammer. A sound that echoes the preparations for war. Jerusalem, the heart of Judea, is under siege. Its people, resilient and determined, brace themselves for the storm that is about to break. This is no ordinary conflict. It is a struggle for survival, for identity, for the very soul of a nation. It is a clash of empires, of religions, of ideologies. The Roman Empire, vast and powerful, seeks to impose its will, while the Jewish defenders fight to preserve their way of life. On one side stands the might of Rome, the undisputed master of the Mediterranean, its legions feared and respected across the known world. On the other, the Jewish people defending their homeland, their faith, their very way of life. Their resolve is unshakable, their spirit unbroken. The stage is set for a confrontation that will echo through history. The outcome of this battle will shape the future of Jerusalem, of Judea, and of the world itself. To understand this epic struggle, we must journey back a few decades. Roman rule in Judea, while initially tolerant, had become increasingly oppressive. Heavy taxation fueled resentment. Roman governors, often corrupt and insensitive to Jewish customs, stoked the flames of discontent. Religious tensions simmered. The Jews, fiercely monotheistic, bristled at Roman polytheism. The sanctity of Jerusalem, their holiest city, seemed under threat. Throughout Judea, a spirit of resistance began to stir. Groups like the Zealots, advocating armed rebellion, gained traction. The stage was set for a confrontation. The spark came in 66 AD. A series of uprisings erupted across Judea, fueled by years of simmering resentment. Roman garrisons were attacked. Symbols of Roman authority were torn down. In Jerusalem, the Great Revolt had begun. Initially, the rebels enjoyed some success. Roman forces were taken by surprise. But the empire, vast and powerful, would not tolerate this challenge to its authority. Emperor Nero dispatched one of his most capable generals, Vespasian, to crush the rebellion. A tidal wave of Roman might was about to descend on Judea. Vespasian, a seasoned campaigner, arrived in Judea with a force of 60,000 legionaries. Disciplined, well-equipped, and brutally efficient, they were the most formidable army in the world. Their mission to make Judea an example, to quell the rebellion and restore Roman authority. City after city fell to the Romans. The rebels, outmatched and outmaneuvered, fought bravely but were slowly being ground down. By 68 AD, the rebellion was on its last legs. Only Jerusalem, the symbolic heart of Judea, remained. Section 5, Titus takes command, a new emperor, an unwavering goal. In Rome, political turmoil had gripped the empire. The Senate was in disarray, with factions vying for power and influence. The once mighty Roman Empire was teetering on the brink of chaos, and the need for strong leadership was more pressing than ever. Emperor Nero was dead, his reign ending in suicide. His death marked the end of the Julio-Claudian dynasty, leaving a power vacuum that threatened to plunge Rome into further instability. Vespasian, hailed for his victories in Judea, was proclaimed emperor by his troops. His military prowess and strategic acumen had earned him the loyalty of his soldiers, who saw in him a leader capable of restoring order to the empire. He left his son Titus, a young and ambitious general, to finish the task of conquering Jerusalem. Titus, though young, had already proven himself in battle and was eager to live up to his father's expectations. Titus shared his father's ruthlessness and determination. He was driven by a desire to prove himself and to secure his place in history as a great military leader. He knew that Jerusalem, perched on a rocky plateau, would be a formidable challenge. The city's strategic location and strong defenses made it a difficult target, but Titus was undeterred. but he was determined to succeed, to secure his own legacy and avenge the humiliation inflicted upon Rome. The defeat of Roman forces in previous encounters with the Jewish rebels had been a stain on the empire's honor, and Titus was resolved to erase it. The siege of Jerusalem was about to begin. Titus and his legions prepared for a grueling campaign, knowing that the outcome would shape the future of the Roman Empire and their own destinies. Section 6. Encircling the city. The siege begins. In the spring of 70 AD, Roman legions surrounded Jerusalem. Titus's plan was simple but effective: starve the city into submission. Walls were built around the city's perimeter, cutting off any escape or supply lines. Siege engines, towering behemoths of wood and iron, were assembled. Jerusalem was trapped in a tightening noose. Inside the city walls, hope began to dwindle. The Romans had laid siege to more than just a city. They were besieging the very soul of a people. Section 7. Behind the walls, famine and despair grip Jerusalem. As weeks turned into months, the situation in Jerusalem grew desperate. Food supplies dwindled, then vanished entirely. The streets, once bustling with life, were eerily quiet. The stench of death hung heavy in the air. Starvation, that most agonizing of fates, stalked the city. The defenders, their ranks ravaged by hunger and disease, fought with the courage of desperation, but their resistance was crumbling. Titus knew that time was on his side. He waited patiently, like a spider waiting for its prey to succumb to the web. To make matters worse, Jerusalem was a city divided. Factions, united in their hatred of Rome, battled for control. The Zealots, led by the fiery Simon Bar-Giora, clashed with the forces of John of Gishala. These internal struggles, fueled by desperation and mistrust, further weakened the city's defense. The Romans watched these internecine struggles with grim satisfaction. Titus knew that a house divided against itself cannot stand. The fall of Jerusalem was drawing ever closer. Finally, after months of relentless pressure, the Roman siege engines breached the walls of Jerusalem. Legionaries, eager for glory and plunder, surged through the gap, their swords thirsty for blood. The city, weakened by famine and internal strife, offered little resistance. The streets ran red with blood. The air was thick with the acrid smoke of burning buildings. The temple, the holiest site in Judaism, was engulfed in flames, its golden roof collapsing in a shower of sparks. The sack of Jerusalem, a byword for brutality, had begun. The siege of Jerusalem was over. The city lay in ruins, a smoldering monument to Roman power and Jewish defiance. Tens of thousands of Jews perished, either during the siege or in the brutal aftermath. The Second Temple, the center of Jewish religious life, was gone, destroyed by the flames. This event, a defining moment in Jewish history, marked the beginning of the Jewish diaspora, the scattering of the Jewish people across the globe. The siege of Jerusalem in 70 AD was more than just a military campaign. It was a clash of civilizations, a pivotal moment in the history of both Rome and Judea. This event marked a significant turning point not only in the military annals, but also in the cultural and religious landscapes of the ancient world. The siege was a brutal confrontation that lasted for months, culminating in a devastating outcome for the Jewish people. For the Romans, it represented the ruthless assertion of their power, a warning to any who dared defy the might of the empire. The victory was celebrated with grand triumphs and monuments, showcasing the strength and invincibility of Roman military prowess. It was a clear message to all corners of the empire. Rome was supreme, and any rebellion would be crushed with merciless efficiency. For the Jews, it was a catastrophe of unimaginable proportions. The destruction of their temple, the very heart of their religious and cultural identity. The temple was not just a building, it was the center of Jewish worship, the place where they believed heaven and earth met. Its loss was a profound spiritual and communal blow. The loss of their homeland, a land promised to them by their God, now lay in ruins. Families were torn apart, communities scattered, and a way of life that had endured for centuries was irrevocably changed. The desolation of their cities and the barrenness of their landscapes mirrored the deep sense of loss and despair felt by the Jewish people, the beginning of centuries of exile. But from the ashes of destruction, a new form of Judaism would emerge, one centered not on the temple but on prayer and scripture. This transformation was a testament to the resilience and adaptability of the Jewish faith. The echoes of the siege of Jerusalem reverberate to this day, reminding us of the enduring impact of this historical event on the cultural and religious fabric of the world. The legacy of the siege is a powerful reminder of the strength and perseverance of the human spirit in the face of overwhelming adversity.